Congratulate Mr. Satya and Gandhi, environmentalists, in charting out this meaningful program at Vijayawada to protect the environment and river floodplains. He has invited the watermen Rajendra Singh, who has been hardly striving to regenerate, to protect the rivers, regeneration of tributaries of the rivers in India, and other environmentalists, Professor Vikram Soni and Kohli, who are coming and addressing today a meeting, creating awareness to the people to protect the environment and the soil, the pure air to the people of the country, particularly to protect the Krishna River and floodplain water to the Vijayawada, Amravati people in Andhra Pradesh state. I am sorry I am unable to attend this 2-day meet on account of unavoidable circumstances. Anyway, from Bangalore, I am wishing the organizers and people of Andhra Pradesh who are lovers of environment and protection of rivers and floodplains. Professor Vikram Soni contributed a lot to get water from Yamuna floodplains to the residents of Delhi, and he has got a great novel idea to avoid the water from the channels. The floodplains are improved, the rivers are protected, the water transportation to the people will be plentifully available. Our ancestors for centuries have protected the air, water and the pure oxygen to be given to the people and to protect the soil that will save the humanity of this country. In this country at this juncture, in the name of development, the floodplains and the forest, rivers are completely being destroyed by the people who are governing us without knowing the constitutional mandate and the constitutional duties of Part 4 and Part 4A of the Constitution of India. In this country, there must be an environmental revolution that must take place. Fundamental duty of Part 4A contemplates that it is the duty of every citizen to protect the ponds, rivers and tanks. More particularly in Vijayawada, particularly Amravati area, floodplains must be protected. This should be done by the people of that part of the state.
Under a blazing sun and with just their bare hands, these volunteers worked to shore up a small earthen dam known as a johar. The dam stores the most precious commodity in India's western Rajasthan state, water. Once these people had barely enough water to drink or bathe in. Now, without any help or funding from the government, rural life in this part of Rajasthan is vigorous again. About 500,000 villagers in this region are now practicing rainwater harvesting. And every day, more and more people are joining the cause. Most of the check dams these volunteers are constructing are small, but they are taking giant steps towards self-sufficiency. Leading this movement is a man the locals here call a modern-day Gandhi. Rajendra Singh shows me the spot where back in the 1980s he mobilized villagers to build their first earthen dam. Singh, or Water Gandhi as he's affectionately known, tells me he likes coming back to the spot because it still inspires him.
This place really motivates me, gives me strength that even a small movement can bring about huge changes. Big dams don't benefit the poor. Small dams, though, help the poor. They're seen as a common property resource. The small farmer can build and repair these dams. It's something which he can't do with bigger dams.
We can't even breathe the air in Delhi anymore. All the water that we are drinking has to go through RO, reverse osmosis. You're stuck in traffic for 1 hour, idling pollution. It's slow genocide. 10 years ago, the Living Planet report, which is done by a whole lot of organizations, IUC and WWF, showed that 29% of the species in rivers, oceans, and land were on the verge of extinction. In 10 years, that number has gone up to 52%. Strangely enough, during the same time, you look at the second data over there, that 1% of the richest people in the world own 35% of the wealth. And now it's over 50%. Some people say it's 65. So it's not looking like a very fair world at the moment, okay? And what has happened in the last 50 years is that we have the Arctic melting, we have an ozone hole, we have global warming, and we've lost 98% of the fish stocks in the ocean. So it looks a little bit grim. This is what has happened over the last 50 years. The question is that something is going very wrong, that's clear. And the whole point is, can we put our finger on it? Do we know what's going wrong? What seems to be the case in the last 200 years, we've been industrializing, and today we are all global citizens, as you know. We have a global free market. The free market works on profit. How do you get more profits? You need more sales. How do you get more sales? You need to have more products. And how do you get more products? Technology. So technology has become captive to the market. And that's why every 2 years your phone becomes not so smart and you junk it. And your other apparatus also, your computer becomes not so smart. But where is all this junk going? I mean, this is all downloaded on the planet. Okay, the technology cemetery is the biggest cemetery of all, and it's for all of us to see.
Without being concerned about whether this organization has enough capacity to keep it non-violent. So non-violence on one side, people's control over land and livelihood resources on the other side. This is what we call two hands of Ekta Parishad. People need to have control over resources, and for that we need to fight. But all this fight should be non-violent, so we need to train young people to act non-violently. So in 25,000 people when we were walking, we had 2,500 trained young people to manage the whole show. But when it became 100,000, we had 12,500 people trained. So there is a huge demand in terms of training young people to understand the struggle component and also the non-violent component. Otherwise, the organization can go out of your hand, because some elements can move in and destroy the whole movement. So unless young people are trained in both, that there is no compromise in terms of control over resources, and there cannot be a compromise in terms of non-violence. So 2020, 1 million people need to come out from various parts of India, not only for land, for a just India, just in terms of governance. You can't have this just to get land from the powerful and give it to the poor. Vivekananda said, for me, spirituality is all about caring for the poorest section of the society. That is my spirituality. So if you look back, we have a huge history of people who inspired us in terms of renunciation, in terms of caring for others, etc., etc. And now we are in a globalization process where we want to speak about growth, we want to say the richest people are in India, and without caring for the poorest section of the society. So we live in this contradiction in philosophy.
Romy, now tell me a little bit about what's wrong with Indian cities in their present form, and are they really adequate to, for the years to come as the population grows, the cities become larger? Are they sustainable?
I think that the main problems that we are having in Indian cities are that they are so large that they have stopped functioning properly. And the migration into the cities has been so enormous that the level of human suffering and the discomfort level for more than half the population of the city is not acceptable. I think that the patterns of development that we have adopted in order to industrialize ourselves need to be looked at again, because they are urban centered. And my concern and worry is the fact that we have ended up getting some of the largest cities in the world. Now, if you belong to the middle class in India, you have visions of the city, you start thinking of New York and London and Boston. But when you come to India, you think that we should be like that. But the Asian city is very different, a creature. So it needs to have a completely different form and content in order to cope with what we have in Asia as a problem. And our thinking and urban planning has got misplaced somewhere. We have got so seduced by urbanization theories of coming from the West that we believe that cities in themselves, regardless of the form they have, are good for us. But we've crossed the limit of what we would consider to be decent life, possible to have decent life in urban cities in India. I believe very deeply that the form of urbanization that we are now facing is inherently against good human life.